Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Healing with Seb. It's been a while. It has been a while. I was supposed to be doing a new series, and I am. I still am. This is the same series. It's just I had a delay in production. I've been busy. Anyways, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about the new normal. A couple of days ago, a friend of mine asked me if I could go over the topic of overcoming the old norm. Moving on to living a new daily life. Now, this is a heavy topic. It can be, but it's a beautiful one at the same time. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't really think about it this way, because when you leave a relationship, a lot of people are normally hurting over the fact that it's just done and that they're now alone. With me, especially with two of my past relationships, it's the sense that I was always talking to those people. Always. Messaging 24/7, and then suddenly it just stops. It falls off the end of the cliff. But nobody really thinks about the other part of stuff. Now, I guess when I did, I just completely forgot about it because I was more in flux with the present. But my friend Emmanuel has told me about, the future plans that he was going to make, or just where his life was going to go, and then didn't. And he made me realise this, because when a relationship ends, you aren't just losing a person. You're losing the mental map of your future, more or less. There are a few different angles we can go in this episode to transition from the old norm to a new daily life. Let's talk about the deconstructing of the phantom future. What we have to do here is remember and acknowledge that those plans that were a story you wrote. To move on, you're going to have to close the book on that particular draft so you can start a new chapter. One that is going to be solo. We're already 3 minutes into this 10-minute episode, so I'm going to have to be speedy here. But what you can do here is identify your future ghosts. You're in a long-term relationship, potentially. I mean, it could have been a short one, but I know a lot of people date for marriage. That's what it should be, right? You're not just trying to purposely waste your time. The person you fall in love with is essentially the person you're going to marry and end up with and have kids with and all that. If that's what you want. That is the norm. Anyway, and you're trying to make a new norm. Anyway, so when you're in this relationship, your brain subconsciously sort of pre-lived the next 5, 10, 20 years. We've already seen the Christmas mornings. The house we'd buy, the flat you would rent. The person sitting across from us at retirement. But the problem is, when the breakup happens, those mental images don't just disappear. They become ghosts. They haunt your daily thoughts. Every time you see a nice house or a travel advert or anything like that, your brain automatically slots that ex into the frame, causing a fresh wave of pain. It's not easy. I made a show called Journey, which was very helpful for me to deal with my issues. And this is what we call the draft analogy. Whereas I made that show, Journey, about film and all that, I'm going to tell you to view your life as a book. The future that you planned wasn't the truth. It was just a first draft. The Shift, just because that specific draft got cancelled or has to be rewritten, doesn't mean that the book is over. You know, the author, that is you, the listener, or particularly Emmanuel in this case, you're still there. You're still here. The settings, you know, the home, the beach, the career you've got can stay the same. But the co-author, that's been changed. It's been removed. There's a lot to talk about here, you know. Split the goal from the person. You know, there's a practical part of your show if you know, think about it this way. List your future plans. The ones that you are most sad about losing. For example, I'm sad that I won't have a partner to go to fucking Bora Bora with next year. Then you reframe it. You know? You gotta see that Bora Bora wasn't the goal. The ex was just the person that you were gonna go with. Actually, hang on. Let me rephrase that. Bora Bora is the goal. The ex was just the person expected to be there. You know? And your action to that is to be encouraged. To keep the goal, but detach it from the person you were going to be with. You know? You can still go on holiday. You can still rent the flat. You can still, you know, do all the things you wanted to do. Your new normal is now just realising that your dreams are portable. They don't belong to a relationship. There's another thing here called the empty exercise, right? The empty chair exercise. In the old norm, there was a chair at the table of your future that was reserved for your ex, that person. You know? You need to be healing. Moving on requires metaphorically removing that chair. At least for a while. It's better to have an empty seat at your future table than to keep a ghost sitting there who isn't gonna come back. It makes room for someone who, or something, who eventually will come into your life. All any of us want is love and good deeds. I say this a lot. All anyone wants is to be loved. You know? There's different ways to help us move on from the pain that we're feeling. And look, it takes time. It does. Time is a bitch. But being real, it's also a gift. It helps. Because jumping into the next relationship isn't smart, I don't think. You need to get over the pain. And to do that, we can do what we've just done. Deconstructing your phantom future. Or you could do the anchor technique. You know, in the old norm, your ex was your primary anchor. You know, for the day. The good morning text, the dinner routine. You can create a micro routine now. If 7 PM was their time, make it your time. Go to a gym class. Listen to a podcast. Go for a walk. Listen to this. You know, it replaces the void now with a new and predictable action. There's just so much that we can focus on. Often we blend our identity with our partners. You know, the norms. Their hobbies, their friends, their foods. Or their taste in food. You know, a tip for that is to just ask what parts of your daily life did you only do for them? Stripping those away makes room for the new normal. To actually feel like it's your normal. And finally, just radical acceptance of the mess. Your new normal doesn't feel good immediately. It feels cold and quiet. Remember that moving on isn't a jump into happiness. It's the act of showing up for a day that looks different. You know, consistency is the key. Anyways. Part of all of this is me just caring. I'm not a professional, but I don't want people to have to feel this way. So I try to help you. Try to put my thoughts onto this situation. Now, I've given you a couple of different sort of paths to take here. You have different steps that you can take. It's hard. It really fucking is. That doesn't mean it's not impossible. You're gonna be able to get through this. You're gonna be fine. You've got me. You've got all your friends and family. And I know that family sometimes is too close to home, or you don't want to be a burden to your friends, but you're not. You know? We're here. We are friends for that reason. When it gets deep, you can get deep. It's all good. Anyways, I'm gonna love you and leave you guys. 12.5 minutes in. We're over. We're over the budget. I'll see you next time.